Hello YouTube, this is Almaden here, bringing you another Wargame European Escalation Commentary. Today we are on 4v4 on the multiplayer map Hamburger Hill, and this game I've decided to show the how a initial heavy rush at the start of the game can be incredibly effective, but you must always back it up afterwards. Okay. This is a pretty good game. It's very close, as you will see. One of the closest games I've ever played in. Okay, so I'm playing as packed as usual. So I had 4 allies: Scout, Clayton, Erebus, and me. And against the other team, NATO. So, as you can see here, Erebus is planning to take November and push into Lima. Supported by Scout, who seems to be helping him. I've decided to push and take Gilead and Echo, giving us the advantage of the hill side and its vantage points plus the 2 4-point reinforcement zones, whereas Clayton has decided to go sort of Golf, Foxtrot, Bravo. Okay, so we're fairly balanced here. Over here I'm repositioning my forces to take advantage of the road to Gilead. As you can see, my usual forces of T-64Bs, BDRM command vehicles, 2K2DM Tunguskas, Colas, supply trucks, because I'm suspecting heavy resistance on the hill, and their machine guns will be very helpful, as well as the fact they're armoured slightly, and some BTRs with Spetsnaz and Conqueror's infantry. However, as you can see on the other team, they are definitely pushing very hard on this side, as we shall now see. So, match has started. Everyone's moving out very quickly. As you can see, they are definitely going for an initial rush. Lots of Gazelles, Blackhawks, Cobras. Lots and lots of forces. As you can see, I'm taking this road straight to Gilead. And now they've encountered the rush pack, goes straight into the action, bringing up some Strop 2s. These are the only other anti-aircraft weapon, apart from the Tunguska, that has both cannons and missiles. So it's a fairly good weapon, although I've always just preferred the Tunguska. As you can see, a great amount of their forces have been stopped here, whereas these forces here, the Black Ops with the infantry in them, are determined to secure the town Papa. As you see, the initial attack, the lynxes and the lynx toes sweep into it, with the Black Ops planning to deploy directly into the town. Up here, a secondary rush force of Gazelle 34 1F cannon gunship helicopters. These are fairly cheap units, as we can see, only costing 25 for a helicopter. It's extremely cheap, but their cannon is quite weak. As you can see, I've noticed that because of the rush here, there won't be much resistance at Echo, so I'm pushing my forces straight into it. Everyone can secure the whole hill. Good economical advantage. But now here, they're using a tactic where they've brought the cannons heading towards this way, and then they sweep them in, so they're all coming from different directions at once, planning to not cripple this force before it can be too much of a danger. But I've got Tunguskas, and that's all I never need. Launching their missiles, quickly swiping these guys out. I've also got the PTR Conquerors. I unload them so they can use their AK-74. It's not a good AA gun, obviously, but it's just a rifle. But with all this firing, all these guns firing on them, they're concentrating their fire on the Mi-2 recon helicopter and quickly knock it down. There's a lot of them. And as you can see, these guys are knock out some of my recon as well. But the Colases, again, firing. I always like the Colases because when they're stopped, they can be firing their machine guns. They won't be targeted because they're supply trucks unless they're specifically told to attack. And, it's a very good way of doing a bit of damage to the enemy. Over here, things are going quite bad for us at November. Our command vehicle's retreating, so we've lost this 3-point zone. and the rest of the T-80s are retreating. Some Leopard 185s, quite good tanks. They've got a nice gun, and they're fairly cheap. Over here, some tank destroyers are picking off the Tunguskas here, as the BMP-3s are busy. As you can see, their airborne forces have pretty much completely occupied the town. Only a few motor strongly hold this sector here. Over here, some CO-62s were trying to sneak in and take out the command vehicle, but unfortunately they stopped before they could see it, and some Cobras were brought in to aid the mortars and quickly destroying them. So my ally Clayton's still pushing in. He's managed to secure a good deal of the map over here, Golf, Bravo, Foxtrot and Hotel, but he only has one command vehicle, so that'll be tricky. Over here, they're doing a very good job. They're sweeping through, launching a fresh attack with 4 Super M60s, 4 M8 AKSs, Leopard 1A1s, Starships, lots of firepower here. Also using their anti-aircraft artillery to knock out the Spetsnaz. As you can see, they're herding the BGRMs out. So the BMP-3s are being retreated to deal with this threat, but they're not going to hold up for long. And some Mi-24 VPs are being brought in to deal with them. They'll be quite effective because they only have artillery AA, but if they get too close like that, they won't last long. Just like that. And with that, the first of us surrenders Erebus. Up here, another wave of attack has been launched on me. My PTR Conquerors, however, have managed to deploy. The Coalises are helping them out. I've also retreated I've kept my tanks here to keep them safe. Also because the flanking force here, my forces are moved toward Echo, so I brought my command vehicle to Echo just so I could be secure it wasn't going to be snuck up from behind. Here there's an interesting fight. The Lad blowpipe anti-aircraft teams are fighting the Conquerors. Neither of these are good anti-infantry but my Conquerors are at a decisive advantage. They've got the Colos to resupply them so they can get troops back that are lost. They can get more ammo, and the Colosses can land their machine gun into the fight as they won't be targeted. And with that, the Conquerors hold off. See, my allies now sweeping forward. There's some Flak Panzers and Roland AA missiles to be brought up against them, but 4 BMPs are here knocking out some Flak Panzers, and the command vehicles here that are retreating away from my forces at Echo could run straight into these guys. Over here, they're pursuing down the last of the CVs that are taking refuge in the woods. These guys aren't going to survive long, and give these tanks some quite nice veterancy. And with that, another one of our teammates surrenders, making it a 2v4. At the moment, NATO has a good points lead of around 1,000 points within the first 7 minutes, and they control a large part of the board. We still hold on to India, but as you can see, not anymore. The Roland and Super M60s are striving through, capturing all of our logistics, so this will be a big problem to us as we could be quickly running out of supplies. And there's some loose T-55s and motor strike here, but as you can see, we've taken some pretty big hits. So the Flak Panzers have moved up and are now engaging the Mi-24s. And this force that was attacking me has been repositioned. This command vehicle is sneaking around, but the TO-62s are coming towards it. This could end up quite bad. And it's in the open. The Mi-24s that have retreated from the Flak Panzers see it and release some rocket pods, but they miss. See, the PTR Conquerors and the Motor Strike are doing battle with the rifle squads from NATO. The Mi-24s are being brought in to hunt down the command vehicle. These guys have very low health and no armor whatsoever. And just like that, they go boom. I'm now advancing my force because I realised the supplies that we have here have been completely stolen, and their Russian force is about to get recaptured very quickly. Whereas over here, I was hoping they'd have maybe some emergency supplies or something. Also, we have the Bravo reinforcement zone, so I was hoping maybe if we could take Charlie, we could hold on to this side of the map and build up some forces. As you can see, some more Lynx toes are being brought in, but then this goes. Yep. And more forces are being brought in, but my allies got some OT-64 Scots rushing up with infantry. Clayton's bringing in some T-64 Baldings into quite close quarters. A bit of a dangerous move there. If the infantry can deploy from that, they could use their bazookas directly on these T-64s, and as they have, but they've taken a few too many hits. They're panicked. It's going to be tricky for them to finish it off. And now I'm bringing my force straight into Charlie. We know their main force is occupied in India, Papa, November, stuff like that. So I reasoned that it would be probably best to just strike in and take out Charlie, which presumably doesn't have much defenses. Seems to see my allies doing a bit of fighting up here, trying to cut off the logistics lines, but they're under pressure from this MLRS rocket battery. I noticed it was there and decided to push into this section here, use my command vehicle to neutralize Charlie, knock out the artillery, and capture this Canuck FOB. Because all I have at the moment are 4-year-olds, the coalesces are dry. But they're in hot pursuit. Some of their fast French armoured recon is bearing down on us. This is a very good recon. It's quite expensive at 60, but it's got a good gun, and it goes at 80 kilometers an hour. I can see some supplies are being fighting through the battles over here to resupply the Leopard 1A2s, but it might be too late. The T-64s are driving straight into the fight. And although this will benefit the Leopards because they're fighting at close range, they'll be able to take a few hits, give a few hits to the T-64s. The T-64s are, I guess, a better tank. Also, this is the BM version, so it's got some good 80 kms and a nice gun. With that, the supply trucks are captured, but they're empty, and the Mi-24s come down to attack the Leopard before it can harm the supply trucks that we have. Over here, I'm using some of the units that were given to me when our other allies left the game. I'm thinking these C-55s could hit these guys behind and, cause them to think twice. And now my forces are advancing. My Book M1 is firing on this Cobra here. Boom, that. Neutralize Charlie, they can't bring any more supplies. And my Spetsnaz infantry are going to hunt down and destroy the MLRS and hopefully engage whatever infantry come from Kilo. With my T-64s rushing up to knock out the last AA defences that will be harassing these Mi-24s. At this point here, there's a 400-point lead to NATO, but as you can see, they control a huge amount of the map. We've definitely been pushed back, and with only 2 command vehicles, this is going to be a tricky one for us. But also, if you notice, it's quite interesting because for Pact, me and Clayton are on the same point, about 1100 each. But for NATO, one of them's got 600, one of them's got 200, one of them's got 300, one of them's got 2600. So clearly, Skytel 9 is definitely pulling most of the weight, and now the T-55s are coming into the play. Now they're going to be facing against anti-aircraft artillery for the most part, but there are some recon helicopters. These guys are equipped with Hellfire missiles, but they're empty, so they're not a threat. But the Pivatus, I think that's how you call it, has stunned the T-55, and the Flak Panzers are going to do some serious damage at this kind of close quarters, and a Cobra is being brought in to finish them off. As you can see, this would be quite tricky to bring them out because they have so many supplies back here, and now the Cobra's coming in with its rocket pods to rout the T-55. and use its ATGMs, its Hydra rockets, I think, to finish it off and force a retreat. With that, the FOB's recaptured. T-55 can't repair itself, but still, it's definitely something to make them think twice. PT-71s and T-64s are advancing to knock out the Rolands. Their command vehicle's hidden in the woods, and we actually couldn't find it in this game. We never managed to take Charlie for a significant amount of time, and the BTR is closing on the MLRS. These guys don't have much armor, if I remember. Yeah, they've only got one bit of armor in the front, so the BTRs will be able to knock out a retreating MRS quite quickly. I think they're a bit faster. These are the basic ones, so they only go at 60, but the MRS is only a 45 mile/hour unit, so they'll have no trouble keeping up. I'm using the coalesces that have been resupplied from this FOB to repair my PT-71, and I'm bringing my T-64s to capture this FOB. With that, the BTRs points and knock out the MRS. This is a pretty good points bonus test. Definitely puts us back in contention. And some more supplies are being brought in to help the fight here, because they can't reinforce here now. As you can see, my ally brought in Mi-2 command helicopters, taking a bit of a pointing, but it spotted the infantry from my T-64s, so we could fire back. Bit of a lull in the fighting here. As you can see, they're bringing back the forces they initially used on India to hit us in the backside to try and stop our advance, knock out our CVs. At the moment, they've got a pretty big point advantage because they hold Kiel, which is 2, Oscar, which is 3. And well, actually, it's not that big yet, but trust me, it's going to get pretty big. So they're at a 2-point advantage at the moment. Right, so now Spetsnaz try and come into play. Fernsnapper Special Forces. Unfortunately, the BTR is going first, which means the Fernsnapper, they only have grenades, but these are specialized anti-tank grenades, so they'll be able to knock out the BTRs fairly quickly. Up here, final Delta forces are engaged in the Motorstrelke. Unfortunately, they're still in their BMP, so this could be quite nasty. They're not special forces, so they don't tend to survive a direct attack. Oh, those ones did. Oh, that's surprising, but still, it's always best to unload them just like that. Delta Force are equipped with a nice sort of high explosive anti-tank bazooka, so it's okay on infantry, but not as good as the Spetsnaz's Napalm bazooka. And they're finished off. So we now have a fairly good control of Charlie. Over here, the Spetsnaz advanced, but were flanked by Fuchses to the rear, and the supplies that I tried to bring in to help them out were intercepted. These guys have also been resupplied from their own Hemet, and seeing as they're caught in a 360 ambush from Fuchs from this side, Fuchs from the other, and Fernsnapper and more Fuchs from the top. Unfortunately, the Spetsnaz lost here. That's a bit of a points disadvantage to us here. Up here, the M60s and Leopard 1A1s are being rushed in to take out the Motorstrelke and the PTR Conkers. Close quarters. Motorstrelke probably could have done a bit of damage to them, but because there's so many tanks, the tanks can sometimes get off the first shot and knock them out. Since I'm bringing in one of my BTRs with some more anti-ATGM equipped infantry. I've also got some here to the rear, just to give me to hold off their attack at the start. Motorstrelke are now stopping and firing on them, but there's just too many tanks here with too much firepower for the infantry to deal with. ATGM helicopters being brought in, the Hind 24V model. And it's firing a few shots, but unfortunately These guys have been fairly damaged. Like they're in rough ground. They've got tracks in the mud, stabilization malfunction. Some of them are detract or detract. Up here, my allies BTR-60s have got so close to this command vehicle. Look at that. They're so close to each other, but because of the forests, they can't see each other. And there's a swarm of infantry, particularly Sacrosan AA infantry. Wow, Sacrosans carrying AA infantry. So, you know, I'm just bringing in little bits of recon vehicles here and there. Still, the points are fairly equal at this point. They try to bring out the Leopard 1A1s and the M60s. They quickly knock out one of my recon vehicles that's trying to come over to Charlie, but the Hind 24 is a good force. Right, Clayton's brought back his T64 BMs into the fight, although they shouldn't really be getting within range, although the startups do have 80 km, so possibly this is a good advantage. Rolands are being brought up to just, I'm not sure what they're doing. There aren't any helicopters in this area, but there are some Conkers with missiles to deal with them, and here's some T64s. This Roland isn't going anywhere. T64 is being retreated so it can be resupplied from the coalitions, and the BMPs are launching their own ATKMs. This is quite an intense battle here. Hind's being refilled. But the Starship's ATKMs have made quite a few hits on the T64. It's definitely looking quite in a bad way. But the BMPs are still doing a lot of damage. It's, all the Leopards are down, half the M60s are down, and one Starship has taken a hit. I'm repositioning my Conkers. They're low on missiles, but they still have a few left. And hopefully Clayton will give me some supplies. Over here, the Leopard 1 has come in through the road. I'm moving my T64s. Again, the Leopard 1 is at a better advantage in this kind of close quarters forest combat, but the T64 is, I guess, a superior tank. Thanks to the mortar here, the Earl remains in their hands. The coalists are coming in, but unfortunately they're captured. Tunguska's fire on the Roland, demonstrating the usefulness of having backup autocannons as well as your AA missiles. Up here, Super M60 is only one left, and it's in a pretty bad way. Starships, a few of them have taken a few hits, but they're out of missiles, so they're in a bad way as well. As you can see, I've noticed the Cobra coming in, so I reposition some of my Tunguskas and use the Buck's excellent 4,200 meter range to quickly knock them out before they can make any casualties. Here, Super M60s are advancing. Hopefully we can get them before they take these closes. Here, some Delta 4s are brought in. Not sure why, because they're out in the open and completely exposed. The Tunguska's autocannons rip them to shreds. Some Stinger teams as well. They seem to be just bringing units. I think they selected all the units in this area and told them to come back, but they didn't bother to put the infantry back in their transports, so they're sort of coming in one at a time and making easy presence. The mortar quickly dispatches the two BTRs that were quite close to the command vehicle. Its RH-202 cannon is a pretty deadly one. Over here, the Super M60s are causing some trouble as well as the Starships. So I bring my T64s in. They'll be a lot more useful here than against the infantry. Also, I wanted to reinforce directly into Charlie, but he didn't realise there was a standoff between our two command vehicles, so he brought his UAS in. At this point, again, the points are actually quite similar. NATO on 5,497 and Pax on 5,300, so about a 200 point advantage. Again, Skytail 9 is getting the majority of the kills here, with 3,600, and none of his other teams have even got 1,000 points yet. And me and Clayton are pretty equal on around 2,000 each. Some more helicopters are brought in. some more kills added to the Tunguska's tally. These are definitely my favourite unit in Wargame just for their versatility and deadliness. Some TO-62s here, they've run out of fuel, they're not going anywhere. Some Cobras came in to try and attack here, but they were distracted by the TO-62s and thought, free kills here. But unfortunately they didn't have any Furfaffer rockets, they're out of Hydra rockets, and they have exposed themselves to the Tunguskas. They launched a few missiles, but the Cobras retreat before they can get any more kills. And now here's a major advance. We got Sacristans and AA equipped infantry, some rifle squads here. Coalises leading the way with their machine guns. So now because of this I've had to retreat my command vehicle just because of the threat to it, because my buck can't fire on land units. Bring my T-64s into range. Fortunately, I guess my ally has his EAZ here, so they don't have it capture Charlie for long. So they can't reinforce it all. And the T-64s release a whole volley of fire at the various infantry and Flak Panzer. PG-71 again. It's got a decent gun, but it's got an 80 km as well. It's quite slow, but it's a solid and dependable recon unit. And Tunguska's tank destroyer up here, but it doesn't even have any missiles to on it. Could have been quite a dangerous threat to the Tunguska if it had missiles, but there you go. And now that the AA infantry and stuff like that is down, my ally brought in an Mi-24 to sweep up the rest of the forces, but it got a bit too close to the mortar ones. These are what the RH cannon is a very good AA unit. These guys are completely out of ammo. They're sitting ducks. And there you go. That's a pretty bad loss for us. But he seems to have spotted the command vehicles here, so they are forced to move it, meaning that we can reinforce the Charlie. Let's have a look at the economies. They've got, let's see, they're getting 9 points in, we're getting 2, so they've got a pretty big economy advantage. They're bringing in some cavalry tank prototypes. These look like the French guns. Yeah, no, it's a US tank. It's got a powerful main gun and a Browning. Fairly fast as well, 70 miles an hour for a tank. That's quite good. And a recon helicopter with Hellfire missiles. But of course, Hellfires only have a range of 2,801, like most helicopter 80 kms. Tunguskas 3,500 range for their SAM, so this won't be a problem for us. Over here, the Starship's just sitting there. It usually relies on its 80 km to in the fight. I don't think its main gun's that good. Yeah, it's only got a 1,900 range, and it doesn't have much ammo. So let's see. I'm now bringing in an Mi-24 because I know these guys down here don't have any AA defense because the Hellfires can't fire on helicopters, and all they have is a M2 Browning machine gun. So this is quite a good workout for us. Fly a bit too close to the mortars and they take out 3 bits of health, but still. Now I can hold off this attack here at Charlie. I'm using the machine gun against the helicopter and the rest of the stuff against the tanks. But they've got Flak Panzers coming in, so I won't be able to hold this intimidation on for long. They're also bringing in some anti-tank teams. Some tow missiles. And my allies got some more infantry coming in to Charlie. They've repositioned their command vehicles somewhere else, so we don't know where it is anymore. BMPs are coming in. There's a Gazelle cannon flying in, but Tunguskas and Bucks will wipe out quite quickly. Unfortunately, we only got 25 points for that kill because it's a very cheap helicopter, and the FOB that we have here is dry. well, all the FOBs around here are dry. We only have a few colas and Jupiters left, so supplies are a big issue for us. So we don't want to be wasting too many missiles on keep stuff like that. The motor jockey engaged the Fern Snapper, and with a bit of support from my hind, knock it out quite quickly, and push on. Hope maybe we can capture a few supply trucks here. That'll definitely be useful. Some Fuchs are being brought in to try and... I'm not really sure what their plan was, but the BMP-1 and the Mi-24, as well as a few T-64s here, knock it out quite quickly. However, their Marder 1 is getting a bit close. Those Fuchs could have been a distraction. Now that it's coming in, if it can get its cannon, its 3 cannons into range of the Mi-24, that could be quite dangerous, but it's distracted by the T-64s. Oh, no, it isn't. It's still firing on the Mi-24, but still, T-64s will dispatch that quite quickly before it can do much. Just like that. Over here, the infantry have ambushed the anti-tank team, and they're now quite close to those nice fancy prototype tanks. BMP-1s are being rushed in, but those tanks have a pretty good HE value. They're knocking out the motor jockey quite quickly. One of them took quite a bit of a hit by that RPG, and one's down. They're bringing in another main battle tank. It looks like a French one. But that's in the motor jockey are moving. I don't think infantry can fire their bazookas while they're moving. And they're down. My Mi-24 is running quite low on ammo, and we don't really have the resources to resupply it. They have brought in some MLRS rocket batteries here. Looks like they've bought some more. That could be quite nasty for us because we can't really afford to repair the damage that those rocket batteries will do. Some Super Koenigs being brought in, and so another pair of Cobras are being brought in to knock out the TO-62s. And they fall. Still a few motor rocket units here. Now they're moving up to the north flank here. It could be quite deadly because of the hill here. They could advance quite close without us spotting them. And there's 2 Tunguskas quite close to the edge. Just look at the good graphics of Wargame. Some pretty impressive graphics. Let's see, down here they seem to be bringing in command vehicles to take Juliet. They've still got all these infantry here. I'm not sure why they're just leaving them there. I mean, if they had a good swarm of Black Ops here, they could have flown down and picked up the infantry. It could have been a good boost to them. Again, the tank destroyer has been refilled by the Jupiter. It's got 3 missiles, but I think most of the resources went to fixing it. But it's still fairly damaged. But still, if it can land those missiles, and it's got level 2 veterancy, so it should be fairly accurate. I've noticed my ally's got his command vehicle here, and seeing as at that stage we weren't getting any resources, and we didn't have any resupply lines, I thought it would be best to bring it into Alpha, so we could get some points, and I could fix up this helicopter. As you can see, it's lost a lot of health. It's got no ATKMs left. And its rocket pods are pretty empty. But yep, so now Juliet's been captured, bringing their points total up to 13. We're at 2. But there's only 7 points in it in terms of score. Me and Clayton have got about 2,400 points each. And again, Maximus has 1,000. Cycle is about 4,000. And the other 2 have about 600 and 400 apiece. So again, Saito is definitely leading the way. Let's have a look at where his units are. Let's see any of his units. That's one of his armored command units there, but I can't actually see where any of his his units are. And he's got these out. All these FOBs down here, but he doesn't seem to have that many units on the field. Not that I can see anyway. It's got these command vehicles. Not much. But he's got a lot of points, so I'm guessing he was involved in a lot of fights, so he's probably lost quite a few units at this point. As you can see, I'm retreating my forces. I'm still a bit suspicious of the rear, just because they had I saw the amount of stuff they were throwing at us in India, like these infantry. They're here. We haven't seen them since. So I brought my T-64s and I bought some keep recon to keep an eye out at the southern flank. My allies still got a few units dotted around, so I don't think they could launch a surprise attack on us here. So I've got my command armor here, and then a fair spread of Tunguskas and Bucks. The Bucks are a bit low on their missiles, but the Tunguskas still have a fair amount. And there seems to be a bit of a lull in the fight, and as both sides are consolidating their position. We want to hold on to Charlie just so we can force them to have to resupply through Kilo, which is quite a long distance. Right. Right, so let's see. So, yep, they seem to be consolidating their position using the MLRS rocket batteries to keep us under pressure and try and whittle down our units, because they know we definitely can't afford the supplies they can. So, and they've sort of boxed us into this low point section of the map. All there is Bravo, Alpha, and Charlie. Low point zones, so they can just build some command vehicles, because they have control of the most of the map, but they aren't using it. They've only got 4 command zones, whereas they could be building pretty much every command zone on the map. Let's see what else. But yeah, that's the thing. What they should be doing is keeping us pressed in here. They have a points advantage, even though it's only 7 points. So they should just sit back, use artillery, just whittle down our forces, and then attack. Now here we go. Here's an attack going on. Here we got some Leopard 1A2s, and Leopard 1A1s. Some armored personnel characters with some American infantry, and then flak panzers and some empty personnel carriers. Not a big force, but again, there isn't anything going up against. A lot of empty supply trucks and some infantry. Again, see, here's the benefits of the Colas. The Colas can fire at the infantry, whereas the infantry aren't automatically firing back. Also, we've had to retreat this command truck or vehicle, however you want to put it. I don't know. Normally, I don't use it. I'm busy at the moment. No. No, I haven't. No. But yep, they've pushed us out of Charlie quite severely. Let's see. I've pushed all the empty supply trucks back here, but I guess I don't like the idea of them capturing it, because I guess it gives them assets. Even empty supply trucks, they could be driving them down to India and refilling and getting lots of supplies for free. Again, I think Alpha's now quite tricky, because they can resupply directly from Charlie. And the thing is, they can use these woods to get quite close to us, our forces, without being spotted. So I decided to retreat my command armor, because it was very close to the woods. It was in this hedge line here. And my ally is bringing his command vehicle back as well. So I stop it now that it's fairly safe here. I haven't seen anything from this flank, but I asked my ally to buy a bit of key recon just to be safe. Again, using some Urals here and there to keep my stuff going, keep it refilled so I can move it. See, Crescent recon there. And he's bringing his command vehicle back to Bravo so we can get some points. Now let's look at the point scene. We have Alpha, which is worth 2. They've got Charlie, which is worth 2, but they've also got Lima, Juliet, Kilo, Mike, Oscar. So they have a huge points advantage over us at this point, with 16 extra points than us. And this really shows they seem to be brought into AL-16 mortar carriers. Yep, mortar carriers. Short range, but can do quite a bit of damage. Well, they're quite accurate. It's usually the main thing. These are the French ones, so they're quite key, but not accurate. Again, the MRS, they've brought in another one as well. To, I guess, keep up the pressure on us. Let's see, where are they targeting? So they're targeting here. So I have them move my T-64s. They're using the artillery to keep us running, because if we stay at 1 point too long, they can just keep artillerying us, and then it'll ruin our units' morale and damage them. So when they attack, they'll have a big advantage. But the thing is that keeping us on the move plays to their advantage quite nicely, because obviously packed units, their advantage, they don't have a good stabilizer, so their accuracy of their guns on the move is atrocious, and their ATGMs, which is one of the big pluses they have against NATO tanks in general, can't be fired on the move. So yeah, so let's see, they're bringing in some tank destroyers with those ITO missiles, very dangerous, very deadly, and they're pushing in a huge attacking force through the woods to attack Alpha. Let's see, they've got another MRS coming in. They've got their Colas, they're using a lot, the Leopard 1A2s. Again, the Colas points on the Motorstrelki, but the Motorstrelki are now told to fire directly at the Colas. This is good, but the infantry are now coming in. But they don't get out fast enough, and they're all killed before they get a chance to fire a single shot. Motorstrelki are doing some good damage here. Colas's machine gun, obviously, it's nice, but it's weak, and when you attack with Colas's alone, and we don't there's not a lot of conflict going on, so my ally can micro his Motorstrelki quite effectively to knock out the Colas's. And these are quite experienced Motorstrelki now. They've clearly been in a lot of fights, but I guess swarmed with Colas's and tanks. There's not much they can do. See over here, they're penning us in. They're buying Rolands. They've got recon, tank destroyers, more tank destroyers, rifle squads. Lots of stuff they're bringing into Pennison and Alpha, and buying some more command trucks. Let's see, they've secured now Echo. So there's 8, 11, 20, 22. So they've now got 22 points a second. We're getting 3. They have a huge points advantage because they're keeping our command trucks on the run. They moved some Leopard 1A1s out of the forest, but it's a pretty bad angle. It puts them at their maximum range to us. They can't fire. We can fire quite easily. These 64s are quite experienced. Now they've got at least 1 level each, and one's got 2. And the VDV rifle squads are coming in. Unfortunately, these guys have an RPG-16. It's quite a good anti-tank gun. As you can see, it's knocked out one of the Leopards quite quickly. But the Vapuzzi, I think, have a better one. And the Leopards have stunned them with their cannons. The Leopard 1A1s only have a cannon, actually. They don't have a machine gun. It's interesting. Over there was a bit of a failed attempt where I used my Mi-24 from earlier and bought an Mi-9 reconnaissance helicopter. I was going to try and go command hunting because I didn't think that I have that much protecting it, but as you can see, Chaparrals, Fuchs, Cobras, Jaeger, they actually had a lot of stuff, and this Chaparral was fully vetted, so it was going to pretty much hit whatever it fired at us. Also, notice they've got the Jaegers and the Freaks here, sort of cutting off any retreat line. But we're quite close. See, there's only about 200 points to victory because we set at 6,500 for victory. I know there's a pretty big battle going in. This is pretty much the last battle of the game. They're rushing in their armor personnel carriers. They're rushing everything at us to try and break us. These are T-64s. These are nice and very powerful tanks. Their armor isn't that good, so once the stuff can start firing back, it could do a bit of damage. We only got, so we're only 100 points from victory now. We're in the lead. 50 points advantage. Yes, about 100 now. But now that all these tanks can return fire, the MRSs are coming in with a massive rocket battery here, stunning the T-64s. We only need 40 more points. Over here, some Cobras come in, trying to fight off these, to pick off these command vehicles. But boom, Cobra goes down. That's the 40 points we need. Right, so let's have a look at the final results, because this is very interesting. Okay, so it's technically a draw because our points were so close, but us Pact did actually secure the win. We got to 6,500 first, against 6,300. Okay, but let's look at the total differences now. The first thing to make it pretty obvious is the command points. They had 6,464 command points in that game. We had 1,667. So they had a huge economical advantage to us. They could buy so much more than us. But we still managed to get more kills. So let's have a look at how it turned out. Scout got a kills of 630 to 1,187 before he left, and brought in a fair amount of command points, 200. He wasn't in the game for quite long. It doesn't put him out as a good player, but I think he was shown in a pretty bad light in this video, just because he probably took the brunt of the force. So he had 4 players attacking him and Erebus, whereas me and Clayton didn't receive the brunt of the attack. And Erebus got a fair, he got a fair turn off. He didn't get as many points as in the start of the game, but he got a fair, KD ratio, seen again because they were receiving the brunt of the attack. Clayton, he killed a lot of units. He got 3,643 kills, but he lost 3,222 units. Compared to me, I got about 40 less kills, but I only lost 1,000 units. But the thing is, when you look at it, Clayton bought in a lot more command points than me. So there you go again. Because my command vehicle was being used to neutralize the zone for quite a bit of time. And as you can see here, Matched and his got about a fair amount. He only got 1,200 kills, 1,200 casualties. But the thing is, if you look, his command points, he got the majority of his team's command points, as well as Skytel, who got a pretty good KD ratio. He killed 3,800 points of our units and only lost 1,400. So he, as well as bringing in very large amount of points, about 2,500. So he was definitely the player of the match, even though his team didn't technically win. Over here, it's pretty similar to my name in pronunciation, but it's spelled differently. He got 600 kills, 1,500 casualties, so he didn't do too well. But then Exelos, he only got 605 kills and lost the majority of his team's units. He lost 2,364 units, but he actually didn't technically bring in any command points. I'm not sure how that happened. His command vehicle must have been moving somewhere and being one of the first to go down. But there you go. So very close game. Only about 200 points in it at the end of the game. Technically a draw, but I don't know. I sort of think our team won just because we were at such a units disadvantage, and we still managed to hit 6,500 first. Leave in the comments who you think won that game, or if you thought it was a draw. And I hope to bring up another Wargame video very soon. Thank you and goodbye.